What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Jay Rich. I'm here to give you your NBA props for the day, but don't you worry. Ray will be here in the comments later to drop a few plays for you. It's May 1st, and so we got the first games of the conference semifinals in the NBA today. We have the Golden State Warriors and the Memphis Grizzlies later tonight, and we have the Boston Celtics versus the Milwaukee Bucks. Should be a really exciting series. We closed out on a good note a few days ago, but we're back at the beginning of May. Conference semifinals in the NBA, let's get it! For all the high-flying action, take a step back and relax. It's time to count that money, the NBA props, no look any further. You know what time it is, presented by PRIZEPICKS, NBA props, let's
count that money, man.
Alright, so I want to start with Milwaukee and Boston, and the reason why is because it's just a series that I have a better understanding of, and I have a really good idea of how these teams are going to play. So the play I want to start with for the day is Bobby Portis. Bobby Portis is a player who's getting an increase in minutes due to Khris Middleton being out. And so for those reasons, this is why it's the guy I'm trying to target. He's been playing 32 minutes in his last two games with Khris Middleton out. This line is 13.5 on the books. It's about an even line right now, but PrizePicks is giving it to us at 12.5, which you know is something I always like to target. Bobby Portis has scored 14 points in each of his last two games without Khris Middleton, and across the season, he's scored over 12.5 points in 7 of his last 10. And on top of that, against the Celtics this year, Bobby Portis is averaging 17 points per game because the Boston Celtics, while they're a great defense, they are 20th in points allowed versus the power forward position. So this is a position that they can exploit. It's one of the spots that Bobby Portis can really thrive, and it's a lot better than some of the other spots on this Milwaukee offense. But they're going to try and get the ball out of Giannis's hands, and I think that's going to mean more opportunities for Bobby Portis. He's also tenacious on the boards and will have second chance opportunities. So Bobby Portis is a guy I'm going to be targeting today. Now, I want to go on the Boston side of the ball, and I want to be looking at the three-point props because there's one thing we do know about Milwaukee. They like to give up the three. They average allowing almost 14.5 threes per game, and so that is good for all the three-point shooters. We're talking Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart. These are the guys that are going to take these shots in these big moments. Now, I want to kind of run through all three players. So Jayson Tatum to start, his prop is at 3.5, right? He's been playing pretty well. Boston made it very tough for him. He hit 3 of his last 5. But the bigger part here is that Jayson Tatum has hit this prop every single game against Milwaukee this season. Milwaukee, again, they allow a ton of threes. Jayson Tatum is averaging 5 threes per game against Milwaukee, and I think that could continue in this series. Now, the wild card for me is Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown has been one who's been struggling. He didn't play that well in the last series, and while 2.0 is a good number for Jaylen Brown, it's probably one I'm going to stay away from in game 1, and if he comes out lights the world on fire like we know that he can when he gets hot, I may be more inclined to take a prop in that instance. So I would probably stay away from Jaylen Brown overall. But I want to highlight Marcus Smart here. And the reason why is because Marcus Smart has hit this 2.0, or at least pushed it, in 3 of his last 4. On top of that, they played Milwaukee on April 7th, and he had 7 3-pointers in that game. Now, it's a bit of an outlier game because Tatum didn't play, but on top of that, Marcus Smart has been averaging 3 3-pointers made against Milwaukee this season. I think this is the matchup that they're really going to try and exploit. Tatum's going to see a lot of double teams with it being the playoffs. They're going to try and get the ball out of his hands, and I think that Smart could be the guy who gets over this number. If I was projecting right now, I project Marcus Smart to be right around 2.6 3-pointers made. I think a push is probably on the low end and where his floor will be. I think there's plenty of room for him to hit 3 and ultimately get to his ceiling. So for me, that's a play I'm going to be liking. The two that I'm loving so far throughout the process are Marcus Smart over his 2 threes and Bobby Portis over 12.5. Now, we've also talked about Grayson Allen because Grayson Allen has really thrived in the absence of Khris Middleton. As you can see, he's gone over 9.5 in the past 3 games, and he's been getting a lot more shots up. I'm a little bit more concerned about the perimeter defense for Boston, so I'm not necessarily going to be taking this in a ton of plays, but it's definitely one you can look to bolster some of your plays, get some larger parlays out there. And then you talk about Memphis and Golden State. There's a lot of players you could target in this game. I think Desmond Bane is one who looks like he has a really low total at 18.5. It's not one I'm really going after, though. I'm worried to see how these teams ultimately play out. We know that Memphis plays an extremely fast pace, but ultimately, Golden State's going to be the team that really dictates how things go in this series. Memphis is an inexperienced team playing against one of the most experienced playoff teams in all of the playoffs. So I want to really see how this game shakes out to start. So for me, These are the only 3 I'm really looking at right now. Bobby Portis over 12.5 points, Marcus Smart over 2 3-pointers made, and you could switch that with Tatum if you want over 3.5, and probably sprinkling a little bit on Grayson Allen at 9.5. I like all 3 of these plays. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, but you guys know what it is. And most importantly, if you tail, give them hail, and if they fail, don't bail. We'll be back tomorrow for more plays, and make sure to look in the comments for some of Ray's plays because he will be dropping them a little bit later today, and we'll be back tomorrow talking about the games for the May 2nd slate in the NBA. Appreciate you guys. See you tomorrow. Peace.